Greetings! Welcome to another tutorial about Bloomreach XM with XIN Mods. In this video, we're going to talk about the XIN Mods Collections API. This API helps you store and fetch simple flat documents into and from your Bloomreach repository. So let's get into it. To get familiar with what the Collections API is, let's go over these things first. First of all, its purpose is to be able to write, read, and query simple flat documents into and from Bloomreach XM. A flat document is a document that does not have any child nodes. To be able to use the Collections API, we're going to have to add a number of nodes inside the JCR. We're going to have to add a collections node right under the content node. And for each collection that we're going to be using, we will also have to add the base node right underneath the content collections node. The XIN Mods Node.js module offers a number of methods that allows you to interact with this API. You can start using a collection by calling the collection function on the Hippo connection class, and you can query for collection documents using the new collection query function. Then, once you've retrieved the collections instance, there are a number of ways to interact with content in the JCR. You can get a collections document, you can delete it, and you can put it. There are different ways to put some information. You can put an override. This means that if a document with a name already exists, it will first be deleted before being replaced with the new values. Put and merge is a bit more gentle. It will only write the missing properties or override properties that have been specified in the object map. That is the second parameter. And the last one is put if not exist. So it will only write a new document of that name to the collection if that path does not yet exist. Great. So let's start by preparing our content repository by adding the necessary nodes. So here we are at cms/console. Let's log in real quick, admin. And so what we're going to do is we're going to add one node here and then another one. So right click on content and select add node. And we'll call this collections. And it'll be of the type folder. Great. And now, so what we'll be doing in this tutorial is we're going to add some functionality to our recipes website that allows people to favorite some of their recipes. And so that's the thing that we'll be storing. So let's call our collection the favorites collection. Great. Now we write these changes. Very good. Awesome. So let's switch to our IDE and start writing some documents into our collection. We'll be writing quite a few new tests, so let's create our new file and we'll call it collections.js. Of course, we need to include XIN Mods node module, and we'll start our test. These will be asynchronous because we're communicating over the network. And let's start with our first test to write some document to our new collection. And it'll give us an opportunity to have a look at how put and merge works. Asynchronous, very good. So let's create a new connection to our local Bloomreach XM repository. Admin, obviously, this will be hidden away on your prod instances. Okay, so now we have our connection object, and now we can ask for a collection object. So this is the name of our collection, favorites. Collection. And we're going to write something to it. So what we're going to do is say, okay, put and merge into this collection a node with the name, my username. And what I wanted to show as well is that you can actually specify multiple layers of folder structure here. So you can have dir1, dir2, sub, my username, and that will automatically generate a bunch of child nodes for you. But for now, we're just gonna call it this, my username. And the second parameter is a map of values you want to store. So let's say we have a recipe ID of 1, that is our favorite, and recipe ID 5 is also a favorite. Great. So now, if we run this, quickly run this. Well, there's no output, but let's have a look at our console now. And now you can see that after we run the test, a new subfolder exists and a document has been created called my username, which is exactly what we specified here. And inside this document, inside this handler, there's only one version of the document, which is the live version, which is one of the differences between a normal document and a document inside the Collections API. This one will never have a draft state. It will always be published. There you are. So it figured out that we're trying to write a Boolean. And so it created that type. And it has the parameter here that we specified in it. So the next thing we can do is just to show you how it works if we use put and merge. So let's try again. To write to the same path, but now let's add some additional information. So, because over time, this user may be building the information that's in this node, right? So, there you go. Now, hopefully what happens is it will, let's make this false, it will not fail, even though the node already exists, our document exists. But it will just go ahead and override the properties that are specified here and these properties here as well. So if we run it now, we switch back, just go out and go in. You can see that this one has now been unchecked and these additional fields have pitched up. And again, it knows it's a number, so it uses long. So that's pretty cool. Now, obviously, you also need to be able to read from these collections. So that's going to be our second test. So we can read from collection. Again, asynchronous. Go. Let's grab this connection here. And let's use the chaining of the API to immediately grab the collection document. So, okay, from our connection object, please can we access the favorite collection and get a node called my username. And then we will just log it. Collection documents, no transformers, and for intent. Cool. Now, if you run it again, great. So now we see that it actually outputs some information. So when you retrieve a document from the collection, you get all the information that was already stored in the document, and you get some metadata as well. So the UID of the node, the name of the node in the JCR, and the direct path to that particular thing. So that's good. But sometimes we want to do more than just read a single node. We want to be able to do queries. And that's the last thing we're going to look at today. So let's add another test. And we just want to know that we can query the collection. Again, let's grab the connection object and let's create a query. Now, if you've watched the last tutorial, this will look very familiar. But the only thing we have to change is instead of using the new query function to start a query, we're going to go and say new collection query. And the first parameter is the name of the collection you'd wish to query. And again, at the end of your query, go build, and you get to specify a where clause. You can say here we want to find all the favorites documents in the Collections API of people that are of the gender male. There we go. Okay, great. So let's call this the query string. Let's quickly see what that would look like. Great, so let's run this. So when we build a query of this type, under the hood what it does, it still calls new query for you, but then it adds some defaults. So it's saying, I know I'm querying collection items, so I'm going to set up the type to be XIN Mods collection item. And because I know that you want to go and select from this collection name, I'm automatically going to add this as an include path. Collections favorites. And there you go. So now that we have the query string, let's quickly get the query result. Let's ask our connection object to execute the query. And we're using this query string. And here we go. Log results. So we run this. Here we go. And now we have the document that's returned. And in the items, you can see the properties we have written to that node. Great. Okay. So that's how you interact with the Collections API. Thanks for watching. If you like this kind of thing, check out the playlist that popped up on the screen. And if you want to be notified when a new tutorial appears, make sure to subscribe. See you next time.